Welcome to the show. I'm Hari.
And I'm Kimi. Today we're diving deep into Greek mythology with the story of Amalthea, the ultimate nanny. But there's a classic mythological catch. Is she a nurturing nymph or a literal goat?
Honestly, she's both, depending on who you asked and when. In early Greek myths, she is the nymph who nursed the infant Zeus. But by the Hellenistic period, writers started saying she was the goat itself.
The etymology of her name is just as elusive. Some 19th century scholars linked it to altho, meaning to nourish, or Amalthea, which translates to divine goat.
Then in 1917, Alfred Chilton Pearson suggested amalos, meaning soft or tender. But my favorite is Gerard Mussey's 1999 theory. He derived it from amalphes, meaning not softening, which he argued refers to a goat's udder, taught with milk.
That is incredibly specific. Interestingly, Hesiod's Theogony, our earliest account of Zeus's birth, doesn't mention Amalthea at all. He just says the baby was taken to a cave on Mount Aegion in Crete, which some translate as Goat's Mountain.
Let's look at the wilder accounts. The mythical poet Musaeus wrote that Amalthea was a nymph who owned a goat of terrifying proportions.
How terrifying are we talking?
Well, the Titans were so scared of it that they begged Gaia to hide it in a Cretan cave. When Zeus grew up, he actually used its skin as a weapon, the famous Aegis, to defeat the Titans in their epic war.
Talk about an intense childhood pet. But by the 3rd century BC, the poet Callimachus rationalized the myth, saying Zeus was simply fed on the goat Amalthea's milk. He used a word for her breast that usually describes humans, beautifully blurring the lines between goat and nymph.
And let's not forget her celestial promotion. The poet Aratus identified Amalthea with the star Capella, located on the left shoulder of the charioteer constellation. He called her the Olenian goat, which might mean she was from the city of Olenos, or it's a pun on oleni, the Greek word for arm.
Now we have to talk about her most famous accessory, the horn of Amalthea, or the cornucopia. It actually started as a completely separate myth.
That's right. Early Greek writers like Anacreon mentioned this magical, inexhaustible horn of food and drink back in the 6th century BC, long before it was linked to Zeus's nurse.
The mythographer Pherecydes described it as providing endless feasts. In one lost poem by Pindar, Heracles wrestles the river god Achilles, who was in the form of a bull, and tears off his horn. Achilles had to trade a magical horn from Amalthea, daughter of Oceanus, to get his own back.
It wasn't until the Roman poet Ovid came along in the 1st century BC that the stories officially merged. In his Fasti, Ovid writes that the goat broke its horn on a tree, and the nymph Amalthea wrapped it in leaves, filled it with fruit, and gave it to baby Zeus.
Ovid's storytelling was a miniature masterpiece, weaving together different threads to give us the classic origin of the cornucopia.
There are also some really dramatic later versions. The 2nd century AD Fabulae describes Zeus's sister, Hera, smuggling him to Crete to hide him from his baby-eating father, Cronus. Amalthea hangs his cradle from a tree so Cronus can't find him in the sky, earth, or sea.
And she gathered the Curetes, these armored dancers, to clang their spears and shields noisily around the tree so Cronus wouldn't hear the baby crying.
In the Orphic traditions, Amalthea was the wife of Melesius, the king of Crete, and her daughters Adrastea and Ida raised Zeus in the cave of the goddess Night.
I also love the grounded historical spin by Diodorus Siculus. He claimed Amalthea was a beautiful Libyan woman and mistress of King Ammon. Ammon gifted her a fertile, horn-shaped tract of land, which became known as Amalthea's Horn.
That's why we still call fertile lands horns of plenty today. This myth was so popular, it even influenced Roman politics and art.
Yes, Roman coins from Crete and Anatolia show Amalthea holding baby Zeus. Centuries later, artists went wild for her. Giorgio Vasari painted her in Florence, representing the Duke Cosimo I de' Medici as baby Zeus getting foresight from goat's milk.
And the teenage Gian Lorenzo Bernini, when he was only 16, sculpted an incredibly realistic marble statue of the goat Amalthea suckling baby Zeus and a satyr. It looked so authentic that people thought it was a genuine ancient Greek sculpture for centuries.
But the most extravagant tribute has to be Pierre Julien's 1787 marble statue of her as a nude nymph. It was commissioned by Louis XVI for Marie Antoinette's dairy at Rambouillet, set inside a custom-built artificial grotto with flowing water.
Talk about the ultimate mythological milkmaid. It's incredible how one Cretan myth evolved from a terrifying, Titan-frightening goat into an elegant symbol of royal luxury and abundance.
This episode is based on the Wikipedia article Amalthea Mythology, which is available under the Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike license. This podcast was crafted using artificial intelligence.